Hello. We are back for our final series here on the Challengers League broadcast. I am the Flex today. It is me, Mad Magical, joined in by, these two guys are still here, I guess.
Way to Rand check us live on broadcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
That's what I do, you know. I got to keep you guys in check. I got to keep you online somehow.
Is that what the goal is today?
Usually that's my job with you, but
Yeah.
you know, I do appreciate having the role swapped here.
Every once in a while, we gotta change it up.
We need to change it up.
And speaking of changing it up, we got a new series on our hands. Immortals Progressive Challengers up against AOE Esports. So let's dive into these teams and kind of talk about what we expect going into the matchups. I mean, for me, a lot of it's got to be jungle matchup, right?
I think that each of the junglers for this team, these teams dictate a big portion of how they play. Because with AOE, the leader, the shot caller, it is Winnie. It's been very public, you know, behind the scenes, always with Winnie teams. And then for Immortals, it's a Chad team, man. So, you know, it's not the, you know, when does Chad gank? It's where does Chad gank in the early game. And a lot of IMT's plans are always built around Chad and making sure that they're utilizing all the tools they have early in the game to get the strongest lead possible. So I think having a big focus on each jungler is going to be interesting as we dive into this matchup.
Hey, it's a good segue to get us into the roster so we can look at IMTC's roster. Since Chad is not the only member on the team that we really do want to highlight, we're kind of looking at the bot lane as well. Wixie and Joey, you were kind of alluding to it a little bit. But even though the Chad matchup's really exciting up against Winnie, let's really quickly, Lennon, talk about how this bot lane looks to us.
Well, I mean, I think Wixie has re-established himself in the scene as that very aggressive bot laner. I think obviously seeing him be confident to whip out the Draven, but as well as the confidence between him and Joey. I've seen a lot of forward aggression. Sometimes it doesn't work out for them, but I'm still really excited to see the kind of growth throughout the season from these two together.
Yeah, and then up against the other side of the bracket, going up against AOE Esports, we can talk about Winnie, we can talk about Lynx and Skytech, kind of like you were talking about, Cubby. I'm going to let you take away what you wanted to talk about, because I feel like you had some residual points about IMTC too.
No, I think that, I mean, this team for me is interesting because a big chunk of them, you know, played together this past year, looking at Winnie, Lynx, and Skytech, not only with AOE, but also their collegiate matches. In fact, Lynx had a collegiate match this morning for UWO, University of Western Ontario, a very successful program. They've never been a varsity program, but because of the students in the club, I mean, they've had so many great players go through that team, and it's really fun to see them come together here and round things out with Darkwings, who made Proving Grounds 4 splits in a row, all on 4 different teams. Very impressive. And also Gamsu, who played with Chad back in 2021 when they both subbed in and won 100 Thieves, that 2021 Proving Grounds Summer Championship. So always fun to see Gamsu and Chad go up against each other.
Yeah, and let's look at some of the clips. Let's look at some of the tape of these players going way back in the time machine, as you were talking about, all the way back to 2021.
Just to echo into the fact that we do get this reunion, but you know, brothers in arms, I think is really interesting. But the kind of situational awareness in these kinds of moments was also really interesting, Cubby.
I mean, I think that like Chad and Gamsu, it's really good to see them, you know, still competing now at a high level. But we've been pretty excited about Gamsu early in the split because, you know, Gamsu for us is someone that we usually see scale. Like there was the joke of, you know, playoff Gamsu. Because he's been in the last 3 finals in the semi-pro level. But it has only been Gamsu playing well early. It also has been the bot lane of Lynx and Skytech. Again, these are players that both came from University of Western Ontario, have history with each other. I think that they've been off to a surprisingly good start this split. And it's something that we're going to have to look out for AOE as we continue to go throughout their season.
Yeah, and looking over on AOE's side and seeing how they really are utilizing some of their bot lanes to kind of get some of this power, it's going to be difficult up against Wixie and Joey, who have been playing so well.
I think the aggressiveness of the bot lane, not aggressivity, Cubby. The aggressiveness of the bot lane.
I like aggressivity. I think that's a good word.
But it's something that's going to stand out here in this matchup. And especially, and we were talking so much about what is dictated by the junglers, but I'm really excited to see how much of that 2v2 fighting we get between these two bot laners, because they have shown their propensity to want to try and win lane in itself. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Aggressivity. There we go. It is now an official
It's a word
Professor
now.
Magical.
Yeah, that's what the chalkboard is for.
He's a professor. You have to listen
Once it's
to him.
written on the chalkboard, that means it's a real word. That's just how it works. And speaking of being real, we have a real game on our hands. We're getting ready for it. I'm going to let you two take this from here. So good luck. Have fun. I'll be watching.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Magical. Appreciate you guiding us into this game. But Immortals Challengers on the blue side. We have AOE Gold on the red. We already have the Cassidy band away.
And I think this matchup for me is interesting, not just because AOE is a core that they've played together for so long. I mean, again, like Lynx was in a collegiate match earlier today for UWO. Like, these guys are so familiar with each other, but also IMT. I mean, this is a team that just came together. I was lucky enough to be able to go visit their compound yesterday. Actually saw the LCS team win, which is kind of fun in person.
Go.
But also got to see the Challengers guys, on the back half of their practice and review. And from talking with a lot of those players, they were just excited. Like, this was their first week together. Like, keep in mind, Balulu just got in literally a day before scrims, or like day before they had matches to scrim one day with IMT last week. Now they actually had a week together. They felt like they really, started to come together as a roster. I know that it's a team where, as you pointed out earlier in the broadcast, Mazel, they are the Challengers team with the worst records so far in NACL, but they really feel like their season starts this week. And the fact they got a full week of practice, there's a lot more confidence in their camp coming into the day. So excited to see if that can pay off for IMT.
Yep, it's all coming together as now AOE want to stop it right in its tracks. We'll get the Maokai ban for IMT Challengers there. It is the Sejuani, the Zeri ban by AOE Gold. See that Ashe ban as well in the end. So big focus on the Ashe pick that has seen that huge rise in priority. But now we're looking at first pick, and it is the Nami for IMT Challengers.
I was about to say, we haven't seen the Lucian Nami yet today. It was nerfed, but I don't think they nerfed what makes that lane strong. It was mostly mana in the early game and a little bit of damage, but what makes that lane strong is that when you do hit that first mythic, you can get mid-prio whenever you fire off that culling. That still applies for Lucian Nami, so it's a little bit tougher to get it out of the lane, but it's more of a mid-game pick now. So we will see if IMT can hit that mid-game hard. And Mazel, you're excited because you see it at least. That means early action, man.
That means early action. That means Winnie having the power to do something early.
Yeah.
Getting to talk to this guy after the first week and hearing where his head is at in terms of direction for the team. He wants to be in the right place at the right time. He feels like he has a good head about where he needs to be at the game, but it's about the timing of things. I think Elise, yes, you need a lot of timing, but it gives you the tools necessary to attack in that direction. We also get a SkyTech Classic in the Rel, something that he was whipping out when he was back in his little stint last year.
They want to run Samira. When I see Rel, all I think of is Samira. So I'm really curious now if I think that we're still going to see the Lucian Nami, but I think it's going to be a Lynx Samira here on 3. That's where my head's at the moment.
It's a strong combo in its own right. It has also that early aggression into the Lucian Nami. So it is, we'll see as we get to the end of the first phase here for them. But IMT now have a question left on their doorstep. Do they go ahead and grab that jungle to kind of match into the early aggression that Winnie is grabbing? Or how does Chad want to try and approach this one? Is Rengar at all a pick here for Chad? Are we going to see it? I said it ahead of time.
It's got, it's a lock-in.
Let's go!
All right, Mazel, you know what? We got to share the predictions here. I was teasing Samira. It could be a Callista as well. Okay, we're going to see the Callista. It is a strong champion for Lynx. Sorry, I had to recenter and refocus here because this is a wild draft we got coming out. Some people taking advantage of the B patch. We have junglers and bot lane showing.
This is a Chad Classic, by the way.
Yeah, so it looks like Gamsu, they're setting up for the Cassante. Might get a Cassante ban out of ADD here. But Chad, Rengar, as you mentioned, it is a classic. He's yet to play at this split. It is one of the champions, though, that he really made a name for himself on early on. And we're going to have to see what they put around the Rengar. Because when I see Rengar, he's got a couple of, he's good in the Elise. You can get out of the cocoon with the Empowered W. If you find Elise, you can always jump on her in the jungle. Keep on chasing her, when she's going to run away. But Rengar needs lockdown. And where is that lockdown going to come from IMT? So really curious to see where they find the rest of it. As it looks like they're taking away a couple of the AD solo laners. Do we get a Balulu Zoe, Lissandra here? Balulu's champ pool has been targeted heavily early, and they haven't hit it yet here in the draft here from AOE.
They haven't. We get the Tristana ban by IMT, so taking away potential craziness there. We get the Fiora Jax, as well as that top lane focus for AOE Gold, trying to set up the Gamsu ADD matchup a little bit more so when we get to the solo lane picks. But now, again, as you said, IMT have one last ban to kind of make something happen here against AOE's second round when they're looking at those solo lanes.
I would like an Azir ban. I think that the Tristana is trying to take away some mid lane priority. Azir is the pick for mid lane prio. I think Ryze is an appropriate ban for that as well. They just don't want to have the full focus going out on the bot side. But that does mean that Cassante will get through.
Yeah.
So it will be Cassante taken with 2 counter matchups off the board. I think ADD's answer now likely going to be the Renekton out of him. So that is some strength in the top side. That does help IMT.
A little bit of setup as well.
Oh, it's ADD Sion! Woo! Okay, I gotta say, when I was talking to ADD yesterday, I was like, hey man, like, I watched you play Sion back at MVP, and he's like, it's still my best champ. And he's playing it today, man. I think Sion's good. Cassante can bust him when he does ult, but Sion's so hard to move out of lane, and this is a big stat ball. It's really tough for Elise to deal with. It deals well with Rel. You can cancel the Rel engage on the W, you know, or just be annoying in the front line. Kalista can stack a million spears into you, but that's okay. We have a beat wall in the top side.
And the CC setup potentially there as well. You also have the Azir that was snuck in there at the end for IMT, and Balulu will be on that one. The Victor right now is the answer that Darkwings has come out with.
I gotta say, so Victor Azir for me, I have some mixed feelings on it. I like Victor into Azir when you have winning lanes around it. Because if not, then if Victor ever loses flash early, you get scoop and scored when Chad like makes a visit mid. So I really want to see if Darkwings can keep that flash up early. But I do think that that bot lane is winning, and also Elise should be winning in the first clear. So I think Darkwings is actually set up to be okay on the Victor, and Victor gets a lot of value this game. But something to keep an eye on. I think IMT, it's all about prio, making sure that Rengar gets a good start. Whereas for AOE, they have a little bit of scaling with Darkwings and Gamsu. And I think Elise is kind of the bridge to get them into the later stages. So we'll see if AOE can get there. I like their team fight.
Yeah, I think we've gotten a lot of the comfort covered out in this one, but for me, it is a lot of the spice. We have come away from draft with all eyes on the jungle matchup right now. Early timing, early pathing. Winnie's own words, want to be in the right place at the right time. And I think Chad will try his darndest to not let that happen. Bot lane will be a focus as well. The early aggressive duos down there, Cubby. We are set up for such a banger to close out our last series of the day for day one. As make sure you get those spams in chat. IMTC if you think Immortals Challengers will take that one away, or AOE if you think AOE Gold will be the winner. Right now, 100% for AOE.
Spam the chat. We'll try and update that live, as love to see those percentages changing. Again, all eyes really on the jungle matchup early. Chad with lethal tempo, by the way. If he gets on Elise,
let's go.
Elise is going to get toasted here. So I'm really curious to see what kind of path Chad has and when he takes that red buff. Because if he takes red buff early, that tells me to try to get involved with Elise early. If not, then it would be after the first clear. And of course, Chad, if you're able to get out of the first 2 clears as Rengar, he's going to be very much in an advantageous position against the Elise, moving later into the game.
And you see, as those percentages have gotten a wee bit closer, it will be topside starts for both junglers. Now, a theme from last series was that aggressive pathing into the opposing jungle. I want to see if that stays here with the more aggressive focused Rengar versus Elise. Now, early state of the game, though, does feel like obviously pathing down towards this very aggressive bot lane, stop-offs potentially in mid lane or some deviations, but I would expect both eyes, Chad and Winnie, looking at this bot lane early. Who gets those early prios? Who gets those early trades?
And I would say that the 3v3 would go in favor of AoE, given they have the Kalista Rel, as long as Rel is able to execute her combos. So we will see if AoE can make that work, as I will say Winnie is spotted on this ward. If he goes up to Krugs, that will be a ton of information given over to the side of IMT, but instead, of course, going bot lane as we expect. As Chad, start with the Wolves. You can do the single target camps a little bit quicker. And we will see if Chad is able to get involved bot, because it sure as hell seems like Winnie's going to get there first. He's even skipping over the blue to make sure that he is getting bot as fast as possible.
Gonna be in a bit of a awkward state unless they just want to go for a straight dive, right? But they will have this wave pushing into the tower here, maybe bouncing off. But it should be just that, at least ready to go action style for Winnie for now. I think we will see him actually moving over after that Gromp clear into Chad's jungle here.
Again, Winnie has the red, so he's going to win this fight. I do really like this play from Winnie.
Oh, but he started it up.
Oh.
I think this is a little bit worse of an angle here. I think Chad... Oh, Chad...
It's the bot lane prio.
Suspect. He knows now after getting that stack.
No way they flip this. Come on, Chad.
Chad wants to get it. I think he's just going to let that one go. The ward comes out because AoE's bot lane has made the move. Wixie, with that vision, will be able to get some poke down there with that first strike as well. Get a little bit extra gold.
It still was a nice deny from Winnie to take that second red buff, as now Winnie will have access to both crabs. If you look at how the lanes are playing out for the side of AoE, Chad's actually forced to base and walk to that top crab instantly. We will see if Winnie crosses, decides to take that. If not, Winnie has the rest of his jungle to go through as well. But like the use of Elise early, again, the first two clears are where Elise can beat the Rengar. After that, it gets pretty hard for Elise. So really good that Winnie not only using his own matchup, but also the bot lane matchup to make sure he was able to get up in the face of Chad and get something for himself.
All right. I know you're great analysis, Covey. You're so good at that. But my real hard-hitting question is, I'm a Lion fan here, and we got a Lion versus a Spider. I'm not a Spider fan. Are you a Spider fan, Cubby? Because if so, maybe that's cancelable. But I'm just saying, I'm liking the Lion of Chad.
We're getting canceled for liking spiders. What does this world come to?
It's honestly, it's a discussion. All right, it's a discussion.
I think Elise is some Sinner gameplay, but I also think that this meta is kind of wild right now. So I like the fact we're seeing early action from
wild. You say? Does that go with the fact that we have all the man? You're buying into my shtick here, dude. I can't do it. All right, bot lane. We got an engage though. The mechanical horse from Skytech setting up with the kill from Lynx. One more pull and the spears come out. So does First Blood for AoE gold.
Well played from AoE. Skytech, you called it out, Michelle. This Rel, it's a specialty pick of his. And the Rel Callista combo, you can win the lane against Lucian Nami, who were nerfed a little bit early. And really are, this mid-game pick. Big emphasis on that, given the changes that Riot has thrown. But that's Elise getting ahead, making that bot 3v3 work. It's 3v2. Good stuff from AoE.
Love that early game proactivity, especially when we get to see the Pathic here, just catching out Joey Wixie.
Yeah, that Skytech, that's an auto, the way that second part of the W is coded, so Joey can't flash away from it. Love the preemptive flash from Lynx as well. As, make sure that they get that kill for themselves, safe and sound, as the UWO boys, they link up.
And I think that's so important to talk about, is that prior gameplay experience together that plays so much to AoE gold strength. You see that in that communication style, especially when you hear these players talk about their teams. There is that kind of same mindset style, and same mindset means let's go focus bot lane. The stun not going to connect there, but the repel onto Joey means he's fried seafood for Lynx.
And I love the focus on the Oasis. Oh, we had a solo kill.
That's insane.
He takes down ADD on his Scion.
Oh my god. It is all AoE gold. 3-0, 6 minutes in.
I gotta say, AoE, they played 3 matches last week. They went 2-4, but they were going up against TLC, 100C, and Golden Guardians Challengers. That's a really tough schedule. And I know that from talking with AoE, they're like, hey, we feel like we had a good grasp on how to win the game, how to play things out. We just overplayed our hand and kind of lost to ourselves. This is AoE playing really well to start off this season, as Gamsu, the flash follow, ends up hitting. And AoE, I mean, they aren't losing themselves in this game. They're making sound plays, revisiting lanes that have summoner spells down, solo kill on the top side. It's all AoE early.
Gamsu is just looking so clean already. And that's something we have to also go into, is the fact that we've traditionally known Gamsu to scale up through the season, and by Proving Grounds last year, he is a monster. Well, it feels like the scaling is already happening.
It's huge for Gamsu. Again, this is the guy that's been in the last 3 finals of Proving Grounds. Given where he's at, actually, that's really, really impressive at the semi-pro level. And Gamsu, it always has been him scaling the back half. But yeah, you said it, Gamsu, really good start to this season. Taking down ADD's Scion. That's no slouch, man. If anyone remembers the MVP Ozone ADD and him and Max and the mid laner triple flexing Scion back when it was Banner of a Command mid. I want to talk to you because those are some cursed games, but also one of the more fun teams that we've watched in the LCK way back when. Always fun to have history career like ADD going up against Gamsu, of course, has a career in multiple games,
right? Like,
multiple games, yeah.
it's kind of crazy when you boil it down to brass tacks, but now we gotta bring it back to the game. Chad Winnie hovering around this mid lane. Chad getting stunned up. The shifting sands with that Emperor's Divide there. Darkwing's having to flash over wall, followed by Balulu. But now Balulu has nowhere to go. He's going to try to get the kill at least and save from Joey. The repel comes through. Chad goes back in. Winnie in some trouble now. He's about to get out. He has the safety now. Engaged from ADT. Oh my God. Wixie guns him down with the culling and a double kill. We're tied up again.
IMT just sent 5 mid with Chad. They're going to take the Herald off that. As IMT, they punch back. And I got to say, a lot of credit goes to Balulu. Because you called it out, Mazel. He put himself in a really, really awkward, weird spot in that fight. But it paid off because he had the support of his team. Balulu knew that, understood that, played the fight accordingly. And I think that's what made it work for the side of IMT.
We're going to look that one through. Chad just going for that control ward. Starts it all up. But Balulu, the pushback onto Darkwings and flashing over.
It's a good flash from Darkwings, but Balulu, the insta-follow, he knows that he can clean this up, and he has the Nami behind him, Lucian behind him. They are first to the play because they didn't go bot, they came mid. And Winnie, whacking 6, takes the calling to the back. Well played from Wixie as he gets the fadeaway here. Cancel from ADD as well. Beautiful play on the side, said how that can interact in the well into Rel. ADD showing that interaction damn well under the mid turret here as IMT, just like that, was that we're back to a relatively even game.
And Chad had taken the Rift Herald as well, so now you have a future gold sync coming through for them, and I would expect it to go towards the spot lane if they can manage, as he's already down this way. Winnie coming to cut him off. Again, right place, right time. It might just be that for Winnie.
I think Winnie's going to get the red buff. And again, the spot lane. Love how SkyTech and Lynx come to support Winnie. Really sound play. Good use of priority. As, yeah, you called it out. Chad down here with the Rift Herald. I got to say, I actually want to drop the Rift mid against Victor. I think that taking Victor's turret away is very valuable, because if you get Victor in a side lane, he is vulnerable in that position to Azir plus Rengar. Speaking of vulnerable, Winnie, he's got Flash.
He needs to be careful. All right, finally does flash over the wall. That was a bit sticky of a situation.
He's able to get out, but I think big difference now. So that was a great play for IMT. They got the Rift. The only person that didn't join that fight was Lynx. He's the one that's fed. Gamsu?
I think he wanted a different angle on that one, but close.
The wall. He gets the proxy of the wave. It's kind of badass. True. Not bad.
It's the goal. It's goals. It's goals. Chad, though, has felt like his predatory instincts have found the spider in the jungle. Winnie goes to Joey, gets bubbled up, and Chad gets the kill.
Joey, Chad syncing up. Love to see Chad snowball again. Once you get 6 on Rengar, and at this item point, you beat the Elise rather hard. So Chad getting up in the face of Elise, really well done. I think the big member here for AOE is we're, starting to get into this game, Mazel. My eyes are on Lynx. He was the one that was given that early attention. He's on his Callista. This is Callista Rel. He is fed. He didn't rotate to that mid play or the Herald, so he was gifted some plates. See, 3 plates are missing from the bot outer turret of IMT. My eyes are on Lynx. Lynx has to make this game work.
I think that's the pretty much the only insurance policy. I guess Darkwings later on as well, but you're definitely looking at Lynx to have this strong start with the 2 kills going over. The problem is Wixie also got responded to and got 2 kills of his own. The difference right now, at least for the foreseeable future, is the mythic item spike shield bow already completed for Lynx. That means they're going to use that power to go for this dragon. Second dragon for AoE gold, so stacking in their favor.
And this is, again, playing around the bot lane. It's a Callista comp, so you're trying to take the dragons as soon as you can. Second dragon down by 12 minutes. That's really good from AoE, and will allow them to stack up the dragons and try and snowball the strong early game.
We'll see Chad going towards mid lane now. Maybe to use this Rift Herald. It is getting a little bit close. You can go ahead and pull the trigger on that one as the Infernal Soul coming back. We got lucky with these Infernal Souls so far. And it will just end up being used in mid lane. So you got your wish, Cubby. Got your wish.
Yeah, take away the plates and the turret from Victor. I think this is the right play here from IMT. Again, IMT, it felt like they got a good practice this week from visiting their camp. First week where everyone was together. Feel like their season starts now.
Uh-oh.
Tough start to game 1, but they're bouncing back here in the back half as Chad's made some good plays.
Ooh.
And we do, unfortunately, have a pause.
It looks like it. Well, I'm sure there's just some issues going on. Love to see Chad use that thing we pointed out earlier, by the way, that combo.
Since we're in a pause, I do want to give the stream an update. If anyone was not watching twitch.tv/pathlcs, you could hop over there in our pause to see gameplay, but actually that game's over. Wildcard 2-0 to C9.
Ooh.
The only reason I know this, I don't have the games up. Of course, my second, I'm focused on this. But I can hear Rafa screaming through the walls. So I'm really hoping that didn't come through the stream.
I didn't hear anything. So.
But I mean, I got the insider info right here, man. It's a wild
Could
card.
you hear word for word? Run us back to play by play. Come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
No, because if I did, I would A, throw out my voice, and B, piss off our neighbors more than they probably are.
Said.
Wildcard 2-0. The Nexus went boom.
Oh,
I could hear it through the wall. So C9, who I deemed as our top team coming out of the first 2 weeks, they've now gotten 0-2'd by a provincial team in wildcard.
It's banger stuff. I heard things from the first game. It was actually nuts. But the fact that they're able to do that is really, really good stuff. I'm sure we'll get an update for what's going on here very, very shortly with our series. Hopefully we won't have too much. Hey. The caster hit the play button. No, thank you so much. We're back into the game. And we're hoping to see kind of that pull back play after that dragon had been taken by AOE. Now towards the bot side with a lot of focus from Chad.
And we will see. Winnie's here to match. So again, playing through bot, that's the key here for AOE.
The Gale Force completed for Wixie at least, so a little bit of playability there. You see Winnie coming back down here knowing that Chad is probably hovering this way. With that being said, though, it should be just a reset. Divine Sunder completed there, by the way, for Chad. And still looking to play off of the advantage for AoE in Lynx, in that cohesion with the team. Gamsu willing to go all out here. As he's doing a decent amount of damage. Okay, well, there's the unstoppable onslaught coming out there. But not going to find it. Almost 4 turret plates in bot lane taken down, but Lynx won't be confident enough to stick around.
I think the key is still... we did just really highlight Lynx, how he's been given everything early. I think the highlight, though, for IMT, I got to go on Wixie in this mid game. We don't have a mandate completed yet for Joey. But you can see how Joey's really hovering Chad. So Wixie's got to be really careful now. He's got to play back, play careful, as it looks like game plan here for IMT is to just support this Rengar. And if anyone is found, it will be good. But again, Winnie and Skytech, they're syncing up as well. So really like both of our teams here sticking strong with our junglers, understanding how important that matchup is.
God, look at this vision game from AoE on bot side. There's just so many red wards. We still have about 2 minutes and a half, 2.5 minutes rather, for the dragon, but they are definitely making sure that Chad can't sneak by and shut down this early advantage that they're playing towards now.
It's also kind of some fun history behind this match. If you remember, Mizel, back in the spring of last year, it was IMT AOE as an org that had a team featuring Soul and Winnie on the top side. Soul went to TSM, so in a way, Winnie and some of the members from that roster facing their old squad as, Winnie might be caught out here by Chad. Not going to follow.
That was the tidal wave dupe.
Watch Dark Wings.
I think Dark Wings will get out as well with a little bit of damage himself. Gamsu making himself unstoppable now with a renewed presence towards top side of the map. Maybe Winnie wants to try to go for this Rip Herald number 2.
I still think the play here for AoE, like if they can delay the Herald, so IMT takes it later, that could give them plyo for Dragon, but Winnie's kind of stuck here.
Gamsu going on the engage. There's Skytech with the knockups, though. They have a lot of damage from Wixie on the side with the culling. ADD flashing away, trying to get out of there. There's the unstoppable onslaught, and he is outie. 5,000. Got Chad coming in here with his predatory instincts. We'll see if he can find the engage. Doesn't do it. Just using it as a vision tool. Should be Scuttle Crab secured by IMT in front of the Rift Herald pit, but we should go right back to this fight. Skytech wants to find the engage on the side, gets knocked up himself, gets a lot of damage onto him. Is out of there, though, with a smidgen of health on the Rel and the Rift Herald. Getting a lot of those Ren stacks in him, but I'm going to reset now.
Yeah, Joey has sustained. They're waiting on Darkwing's poke, see if it's big enough, but I think IMT bought enough time to actually sneak this out. So nice patient play coming out of IMT here. And again, first week of practice together as a team. Love seeing some discipline from the members of
really
IMT, waiting on the sustain Anami to get those health bars back up. That map is theirs. Now, I will say, Dragon should go to AOE because they're going to fully reset first. IMT sticking around to maybe make a play here with the Rift Herald on the map. Wixie, Balulu, they did not reset. So this Dragon's up in 15 seconds. This will be sole point for AOE. And again, the Kalista comp, you want to be stacking up these Dragons quickly. So I like what AOE is doing. Take mid prio, go play for that Dragon immediately. I don't think IMT can match.
I will say, though, ADD has TP advantage over Gamsu. Gamsu will have to either choose to walk down or lose top side of the map. Looks like Dragon will be started and given right now for AOE.
There's no ults on the side of IMT. They have to wait for the culling.
He's TP again.
Okay.
I love it.
We have an ult for ADD too. Gamsu's not here.
Gamsu is still walking. He has to take the long trudge over here. ADD gets the engage, but can't find a Chaos Storm used to separate it. Chad's in the pit. Chad doesn't get it. When he secures a tidal wave, though, you got wombo combos for days as Gamsu goes all out. And ADD is the last big take as IMT have to run away. They might focus on a Gamsu now, but ADD will fall. A double kill to Lynx.
It was a big ult from Balulu, but again, Wixie didn't have the culling. Chad wasn't able to ult. And Lynx on the back half, I gotta credit Skytech who went down. Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Well,
I feel like Winnie has just had Joey's number this whole time.
Nami squishy for an Elise, but I gotta see a replay. I want to give a lot of credit to Skytech. I think Skytech is actually how they turned around this fight because it's a huge Emperor's Divide coming in from Balulu. But Skytech on this rel, he found a great crash down as well. So he's going to get scooped by Balulu. It's really good from the Azir, but the Magnus Storm into the crash onto 3. That protects Lynx. No other carry can follow up on the Kalista. Lynx focuses down Balulu. Really good play from him. And again, Lynx, that member we put all the focus on for AoE, he wasn't able to be taken down by IMT because Skytech split the fight after the engage. Really well done by the support of AoE. I think that was the big difference in that fight.
And honestly, we get to see the end here.
He guessed the flash. Let's go,
really
Winnie.
Good catch out. Yeah,
wow.
That's really good.
Wow, he's feeling himself, man.
And AoE should be. They found some really, really good team fights here back to back. And I'm really interested at seeing how that kind of unfolded, especially in terms of Lynx getting these kills, how they utilize that. He's 4-0 now, having completed his second item, looking at his third very soon. And we have, Soul Point for AoE. We have Baird coming up soon with those Ren stacks. I think AoE have a lot to play for on the map.
It was a huge take for them to take that Dragon because again, the scaling of IMT, it's not like, I think it's a pretty close game in terms of scaling, and like you can argue like for some members, but again, the fact that AoE they're stacking up these Dragons so quickly, it's gonna put IMT in a really tough spot. Big engage.
Skytech finding another engage, and Winnie bites down on the fish. Joey dies again. And engage now onto Chad, who dies to a double kill to Winnie and AoE.
That's Baron.
Do they have the confidence?
They gotta pull Baron.
They're on 20. Yeah, they're starting it.
They might turn and fight, but this is a Kalista comp. You can take Baron, and this is what we love about AoE. They're a provisional team, but this team was built to not be relegated. They were built to be competitive. I know 3-7 wasn't the start they were looking for, but they've had a tough schedule so far. And the way this team commits around Winnie, the shot caller, the commitment to these plays, they're always together. They're playing as a team. And I think in that instance, that really caught IMT off guard as they were kind of in the middle of getting back on the map, reset. That was a great catch and play from Skytech. That's just a free Baron.
It is Baron now over to AoE Gold. Rift Herald last second used by Chad on the bottom side. Able to get that one down there, so maybe something to deal with a little bit later on as ADD taking the side lane tower for this bounty. It's now, though, all eyes on AoE moving back out on the map with this Baron buff, and so much gold it feels like in their pockets with that 5,000 gold lead.
And I mean, everything comes down to this Dragon fight in 90 seconds, and AoE is going to get so much standing gold they've only taken one tower. And so
Yeah.
the standing gold they're about to take down with this Baron buff, it's really, really big. And I like what AoE is doing here. Darkwings is going to reset. Link should reset after this camp too. I know Darkwings has to match the Azir a little bit, but just make sure you have all the power that you can possibly put on yourself for this dragon fight. Because this is one that AoE should be favored, should win. I mean, look at Lynx, man. He was given everything early.
Yeah.
And props to Lynx. He's been carrying this game through.
And I want to take a look at some of this itemization here across the board. We got the Devori Quick Blades completed second item for Wixie.
Yeah.
It has been the trend, it feels like, across the board today. But now another
curious.
trend. Catching somebody out in the side lane. Balulu with his tower. Maybe he gets Darkwings, but can't find the damage. And scooped to his safety was Darkwings. Winnie with the pickup kill.
I gotta say, this is actually kind of tricky from AoE. I think IMT was like, all right, AoE's gonna set up everything for this dragon. And AoE says, nope, they play a little bit of a mind game. They hunt the Azir on the top side. And now they have a numbers advantage to set up for this dragon before. So punishing Balulu was a little bit too far up. Didn't have the support of his team. And now AoE, they're going to take over this bot side jungle. Make sure this dragon's all
They
theirs.
just feel like bullies, man.
AoE's playing good, man. They're playing good
They
league.
just feel like bullies. They don't even care about anything that's happening. They're 4-man just walking into the enemy jungle.
This is good League of Legends from AoE. And again, this is a team where this core has played together. And you know what Link said? He's like, I enjoy playing with my friends. Now, because they play together so long, they're like, sometimes we have bad habits that we can't fix, but the better practice, better scrims, they're helping AoE with that. And we'll see if AoE can cash in, as this is soul for them.
There goes Chad trying to spot out potential prey for himself. Big knock up on the back line here onto Darkwings, but Winnie and the rest of AoE Gold want to commit onto ADD. Look for a big engage from Skytech. He's looking for that over-the-wall crash down. Gamsu in the pit, tanking the dragon for AoE. But AoE are very split right now, and oh my god, that's a lot of damage.
IMT slowing down the fight, playing around the sustain again. It's really benefiting them as Balulu is just taking away the health bars. ADD is on an angle. This is dangerous for AoE.
This is so dangerous. AoE need to pull out, and they do. The dragon resetting over onto Chad. Gamsu does not want to let that one go.
When he's spotted, he's too low. Gamsu's now too low. I think that's going to be it.
The poke from Balulu has been nuts at the tidal wave over the wall. ADD wants to go in on the back line. Chad will focus on the dragon as ADD focused himself, but the rest of AoE turned onto the dragon itself. ADD finally goes down. Skytech crashed down. Chad flashes out onto Winnie, and dead goes the jungler of AoE. Chad wants to stack him up. Link's getting the Ren stacks, though. Chad wants to be the carry, and Wixie with a smidgen gets dead by Darkwings. I don't think Chad can do it. Big bubble, but it's Gamsu you're trying to mess with, and Skytech picks up the kill. AoE, they want to chase down Joey. I don't think they can get him here. The slow down, but it's still the speed up. The double bubble, not going to come through, but the bubble onto Gamsu is just enough.
Okay. Honestly, IMT, they got the dragon. They're still alive in this game. It's not the worst thing for IMT. Again, time's okay for them. I like how they played this out. I think the big difference, Lynx had a nice team fight. Wixie did trade himself for Lynx. That's very important. Props to Darkwings as well for popping that culling immediately, canceling that with his ultimate. But this gets so split. It enables IMT to get the dragon. AoE was never going to sniff that, given all the poke they took earlier. But the turn on the team fight, again, Skytech just forcing this fight, saying we're ahead. We have Lynx who's strong. Balulu sends everything at the Callista. A good flash away from Lynx to buy space from Chad. It forces Wixie to flash forward to finish him. So he has to trade out. And once Wixie's down, both carries sacrifice themselves for this Callista. So things got hard from there.
Yeah. And Skytech getting that big engage, but also not really getting a lot of focus onto him means he's just there to continually set up the CC that Rel does. And that's really difficult for, I feel like, IMT to fight into now. And looking at these next couple fights, right, you still are on soul point for AoE. Yes, they've delayed it, but it feels like it's still as difficult. If not, it's going to get more difficult as AoE have kind of stacked up a lot of gold on these carries. That's 3 items already worked into Lynx.
And that Blade of the Ruin King, of course, was adjusted a little bit on this patch. So see if Lynx can take advantage of that. A lot of lifesteal to drain tank the side of IMT. And again, IMT, I mean, that Azir can pump, but a lot of the damage for Wixie is tied within his abilities when you go for this Navori build. So we'll see if Lynx can drain tank and how far up he can play, because he, again, was gifted all the early gold, all the early resources from AoE. He's been doing a great job this game of cashing them in. got both carries of IMT to flash to take him down in the last fight, which is why it was winning for AOE. Now we'll see if he can have one more good fight around this Baron. Does not have access to his summoner spells this time around. So a clean engage from IMT could be deadly.
Again, it feels like the teams are being guided along by their junglers, Winnie and Chad, walking along the map, being followed by their squads. And honestly, it might be feeling like a little bit like West Side Story style. We got two sides fighting, maybe a little bit of dancing, but it is the side lane towers that may be bearing the brunt of that damage. Chad and the rest getting engaged on. That's a double Magnet Storm engage crash down from SkyTech, and Balulu is gone out of your sight like a magic trick.
I've talked so much about Lynx and the resources, but SkyTech's Rel
has been
man. So damn good this game, Mazel. As that's another pick that they're able to find around the second Baron. Keep in mind, they got the first one because of SkyTech 2. So this time around, he's going to pick it up as Gamsu doing Cassante things. Oh boy. Okay, able to sneak around that turret. That's fun. It will be a bounty for IMT, but still, that's the Baron for AOE.
Another Baron, and AOE have just been very controlling around this map. Obviously, another minute and 20 seconds for the Dragon. They reset on the map with the Baron. This sets up beautifully for them to secure their soul and to put the pressure onto IMTC.
AOE clearly had a plan. You know, on this red side, they saw the first pick Nami, man. Elise, SkyTech, Rel. They've been playing together the entire game. Keep in mind, Winnie, he had one gank bot that got sums and a kill, was back there 90 seconds later. This has been all about the bot lane for AOE, and our provisional team putting up a damn good game here, Mazel. I mean, we got a lot of good things to say about how AOE's played this one out.
Yeah, and it comes off the back of just good execution, good timing with the team. And it's something we know that they've been working on, wanting to strive towards, right? And it's a third week into the league. It feels good to see that kind of cohesion come to bear with a comp like this.
A few more steps, a few more boxes to check off. I'm really curious to see if AOE continues to commit to this mid siege, or if they retreat to that soul for themselves, as they're 15 seconds away. At this point of the game, too, Victor, the poke that Victor can put out is substantial.
It really is.
Darkwing's doing a nice job. This is where this matchup's really nice for Victor in the later stages, as you can zone out the Azir when you get all the evolves and the slow on every ability. And that's going to be enough. That poke for AOE. I mean, this is Soul, and this is where things start to look very grim for the side of Immortals.
Yeah, I mean, Gansu could have even played in that side lane, realizing he didn't want to be the one that gets caught out and take it out. Having that TP available, we'll just walk over to the mid lane. And that Soul, as you'd said, such a big nail in the coffin, it feels like, for IMTC. See them try to regroup, reshuffle a little bit. Chad getting a little bit more gold, but bot lane push is the priority right now for AOE.
AOE again. I is so impressed with how Lynx is played. Taking this Callista Rel, this is a matchup we haven't really seen piloted by a lot of other teams in this league or around the world for that matter. And Lynx and SkyTech have been playing it damn well. Okay, hold on. well done, Wixie. Yeah, they're going to fight.
ADD tries to find the engage. Look at Balulu. He tried to predict it. But doesn't. And Winnie tried to take him out, but we got such a split fight. ADD is down 2. SkyTech still alive. How does it come to catastrophe like this, Cubby? It's an ace. It's a clean one. And it's a damn clean win by AOE Gold.
You take away the Vi, you take away the Maokai. Winnie's got more tricks up his sleeve, baby. As this Elise and the Rel from SkyTech, the bot-centric game for AOE worked out damn well. And AOE, and again, this was a team where we looked at their record 3-7. I know they play Cincinnati Fear tomorrow. I would have told you before this game that I actually favor AOE. And that game was why. Because I think AOE has played well against a really tough strength of schedule so far. And the fact they take down IMT in game 1 today, have a chance to take down Fear, man, more of our provisional teams are picking up wins, makes the league really exciting when we have AOE and a provisional team playing that high quality of League of Legends.
The provisional day is upon us here in week number 3, apparently. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back with another halftime segment by Mad Magical.